Chosen one. You are not here by accident. Heaven scheduled this moment. The Spirit led you to this very second because you are standing at the edge of a supernatural release, a divine wealth transfer, prepared long before you knew to pray for it. Anointed one. Something is opening over your life. The veil is thinning. The timing is perfect. As it is written, the blessing of the Lord makes rich and adds no sorrow. Feel this in your spirit. This is not information. This is activation. Breathe steady your heart and prepare yourself. What God is about to reveal will shift your entire path. Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven would not have brought you here unless something in the Spirit was already shifting around your life. What I am about to reveal to you is not merely information, it is impartation. Your spirit will recognize this before your mind fully catches up. There is a reason you have been feeling that strange pressure in the atmosphere, that quiet knowing deep in your chest, that sense that something unseen has been building behind the scenes. That is not imagination. That is not emotion. That is alignment. What you are feeling is the emergence of what I call the blue power, the hidden authority God planted inside His chosen ones, long before they stepped into the battles that shaped them. In the natural world, blue is a color, but in the realm of the Spirit, chosen one blue is a signal, a vibration, a divine frequency carrying revelation, clarity, purity, and heavenly justice. It is the color of realms where truth cannot be bent, where purpose cannot be stolen, where identity cannot be diluted. I felt this power in my own life long before I had language for it. I remember seasons where I didn't have answers, where life felt heavy, where every step forward felt like walking through invisible resistance. Yet in those very seasons I would also feel these moments of overwhelming clarity, moments where it felt like heaven whispered something no one else could hear. That whisper became the turning point. That whisper became survival. That whisper became strategy. And you, chosen one, have been living with that whisper your entire life. You have noticed it in the way you see what others overlook. You have sensed it in the way you feel atmospheres before anyone says a word. You've experienced it when you walk into a room and something subtly shifts, even if no one acknowledges it. That is not personality. That is not sensitivity. That is the signal of heaven resting on you. The blue power is not loud. It does not beg for attention. It does not announce itself with lightning and thunder. It shows up quietly, deeply, like a current flowing beneath the surface of your life. It is the kind of power only those who have been processed in the dark can carry in the light. And let me say this with authority. You have been processed. You have been prepared. You have been positioned. You did not go through those betrayals by accident. You did not survive the loneliness for no reason. You did not endure the delays because God forgot you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every night you cried asking why. It was all shaping the vessel within you that could hold this kind of power without collapsing. I know that pain because I have lived it. I know what it feels like to lose people I thought would stay forever. I know what it feels like to have doors close without explanation. I know what it feels like when heaven seems silent and the world seems too loud. But what I learned, and what you already know, even if you haven't articulated it, is that the silence was never punishment. It was preparation. When God hides a chosen one, He is not withholding purpose, He is refining it. By chosen one. The blue power in you is the reason the warfare against your life has been relentless. The enemy does not attack what is empty. He attacks what is dangerous. The clarity you carry threatens him. The discernment you carry unsettles him. The anointing you carry exposes him. That is why the attacks have felt personal. That is why your mind has been targeted. That is why your relationships have been shaken. But here is the truth that hell never wanted you to discover. Every attack that came to break you actually revealed how powerful you are, because you survived what was designed to bury you. And now heaven is readying you for something bigger, something heavier, something that will not just shift your inner world, but your outer world, your finances, your opportunities, your connections, your entire trajectory. You are entering a season where the blue power God placed in you will begin attracting what once avoided you. Doors that resisted you will recognize you. Blessings that moved past you will circle back. People who didn't see you will suddenly sense the weight of who you are. When God activates this level of power, the natural realm bends to the spiritual realm. Life doesn't stay the same. You don't stay the same. And I feel this strongly. There is a divine financial transfer coming to your life, and the reason it has been delayed is because God needed you aligned, aware, and awakened before He placed responsibility in your hands. The wealth that is coming is not random. It is connected to destiny, connected to purpose, connected to the assignment on your life. Financial elevation without spiritual identity is dangerous, but financial elevation paired with awakened authority becomes kingdom strategy. That is why God is awakening your blue power now, because what is coming requires clarity. What is coming requires authority. What is coming requires identity. And you, chosen one, are ready. Chosen one. Now that your spirit has awakened, we must go deeper into what the blue power truly represents. This isn't just an idea or a poetic expression. It is a spiritual identity God planted within you before life ever shaped your personality. The blue power is the part of you that has always felt slightly out of place, slightly ahead, slightly different in ways you couldn't easily explain. It is the mark of heaven woven into your soul, the quiet evidence that you were never meant to blend in with the ordinary or move in the rhythms of the world around you. You have felt this power for years, even before you had language for it, even before you trusted yourself enough to acknowledge what you sensed. From an early age, you carried a different level of awareness. You saw things others ignored. You discerned danger before it unfolded. You felt spiritual shifts in your body long before conversations confirmed them. Some people called you sensitive. Some called you paranoid. Some called you dramatic. But heaven called you tuned in. What you thought were personality quirks were actually early signs of spiritual frequency. The blue power reveals itself first in perception, not performance. You didn't ask for it. It simply came alive inside you because it was part of who you were designed to be. And this is why your battles have been different from those around you. Many people walk through life without spiritual resistance because they pose no threat to darkness. But you, chosen one, have always drawn opposition even in seasons where you felt spiritually weak. That's because the enemy detected your identity before you recognized it. The intensity of your warfare was not proof of weakness, but proof of assignment. Every discouragement, delay, and distraction you fought wasn't random. It was targeted. Hell sensed the blue power rising in you, and it fought you early, hoping you would live your life unaware of what you truly carried. But you survived. And every storm that was meant to silence you instead sharpened you. The loneliness forged clarity. The heartbreak expanded compassion. The rejection developed discernment. The delays taught you patience and spiritual hearing. God did not cause your pain, but He certainly used it to refine the vessel that would one day carry authority. This is why your inner world has felt so intense, because what God was working inside you was far greater than what people around you could see. You were being shaped in the unseen to operate with power in the seen. And now the atmosphere of your life is shifting. The blue power is no longer dormant. It is no longer waiting in silence. It is awakening into expression, and one of the first areas it will transform is your financial realm. Many believers separate spirituality from finances, but heaven never does. When God elevates a person, he elevates every dimension, identity, clarity, authority, and yes, provision. Divine purpose requires resources. Spiritual assignment demands financial freedom, and the reason you have felt pressure in the area of money is not because you failed, but because God was breaking you free from counterfeit sources. I've walked through that same breaking. I've lost jobs I depended on, doors I prayed for, shut violently. Relationships connected to financial stability dissolved overnight. At the time, it felt like punishment. Later, I understood it was pruning. God was removing temporary supports so that I could stand on divine provision. He was closing toxic opportunities that looked good but were never meant for the version of me he was awakening. Some financial droughts are not droughts, they are detoxes. Some losses are protection, some closures are redirection, and chosen one that is exactly what has been happening in your life. God has been preparing you for a supernatural transfer, and preparation always begins with separation. He separated you from the wrong people, wrong systems, wrong sources, wrong habits, wrong dependencies, because the blessing coming to you requires purity of stewardship. God cannot pour abundance into a vessel still bound to old cycles. He cannot elevate someone who will use wealth to feed wounds instead of purpose. So he healed you, he refined you, he realigned you. And now your spirit is strong enough to carry what your heart once feared. The blue power does not merely give discernment, it also releases attraction. When your identity aligns with heaven's assignment, the physical world begins responding differently. People start treating you with a respect you didn't ask for. Opportunities start appearing without explanation. Ideas begin flowing with ease. Resources find you instead of you chasing them. This is not luck. This is spiritual authority manifesting in natural form. It is the evidence that something inside you has shifted. When God elevates a person, the elevation begins internally, and then creation adjusts externally. Chosen one, you are stepping into that adjustment right now. You may not see the full picture yet, but you can feel the tension. Something in you knows that the old version of you has expired. You can sense that your old mindset no longer fits your new mantle. You feel moments of restlessness, not because you're confused, but because your spirit is pushing you into expansion. The blue power is aligning your decisions. It is adjusting your atmosphere. It is preparing you to receive what you once thought was out of reach. This coming financial elevation is not just for comfort, it is for calling. There are assignments tied to your name that require resources. There are people connected to your destiny who will only be reached when you are in a place of stability and overflow. There are visions in your heart that have been waiting for financial breath. And heaven is ready to breathe. You are not stepping into money. You are stepping into purpose-funded abundance. You are stepping into assignment-backed provision. You are stepping into divine alignment that attracts divine supply. This is the shift your spirit has been sensing. This is the reason the warfare intensified. This is the season where the blue power moves from internal identity to external manifestation. Chosen one, now that the blue power is awakening within you, you will begin noticing something unusual. Your environment is reacting to you. not the other way around. For most of your life, you've had to adjust yourself to survive the rooms you entered. You softened your insight, quieted your intuition, dimmed your clarity, just to avoid intimidating or disrupting people who lived on lower frequencies. But that season is ending. When the blue power activates you, no longer adapt to the room adapts to you. People who once ignored your presence will suddenly become aware of you. Circumstances that used to overpower you will start bending in your favor. This shift is not arrogance, it's alignment. You are rising into your God-given identity, and the world around you is recalibrating to honor that identity. Your life has prepared you for this moment far more deeply than you realize. Every time you felt overlooked, it was sharpening your humility. Every time someone underestimated you, it was building your resilience. Every moment of silence, loneliness, or confusion was cultivating a spiritual depth most people never develop. These experiences didn't crush you, they crafted you, and now they're becoming equipment. The compassion you learned in heartbreak, the discernment you gained through betrayal, the strength you discovered in isolation, all of it is part of your new spiritual authority. The blue power is not new, it is simply becoming visible. The version of you hidden in the shadows is now stepping into the light, but in a way that is grounded, pure, and unshakably rooted. You might notice recently that conversations feel different. You speak with more clarity, more weight, more intention. People sense that when you talk, it isn't just your voice, there's revelation behind it, there's experience beneath it, and there's authority woven through it. The reason is simple. You are no longer speaking from wounds, you're speaking from wisdom. The blue power matures your voice. It gives you the ability to articulate truths you once felt but could not express. It aligns your words with purpose. And because of that alignment, heaven backs your speech. You are entering a season where what you say will carry impact. What you decree will manifest. What you pray will shift atmospheres. This is not exaggeration. It is the natural result of spiritual identity converging with divine timing. Chosen one. This awakening is also going to shift your relationships. Not everyone can stay connected to a rising vessel. Some connections will loosen naturally. Some people will distance themselves. Some will become uncomfortable without understanding why. Don't chase them. Don't force alignment. When heaven elevates you, it exposes the gaps in every relationship tied to you. Anyone not aligned with where God is taking you will quietly fall away. This is not rejection. It's refinement. Your destiny requires community, but it requires the right community people who can recognize your spiritual identity rather than reducing you to who you used to be. You are not losing people. You are gaining alignment. You may also feel an increased sensitivity, not emotional fragility, but spiritual awareness. Places you once tolerated may feel heavy. Conversations you once entertained may feel draining. Opportunities you once desired may now feel misaligned. That's because the frequency of your spirit is rising. You're being elevated above confusion, above small thinking, above cycles that once trapped you. This heightened sensitivity is one of the clearest signals of the blue power. It is God training your spirit to discern the difference between what is sent by Him and what is sent to distract you. The more you honor this sensitivity, the more quickly heaven will trust you with higher assignments. And here is something you need to understand on a deeper level. Your rising is not just personal, it's prophetic. You are not being elevated for your own comfort. You are being elevated for others. There are people connected to your voice, your breakthrough, your obedience. Your transformation is the catalyst for someone else's liberation. There are individuals who will only find their own clarity because you stepped into yours. Your rising is part of a divine chain reaction. Heaven doesn't elevate isolated individuals. Heaven elevates leaders. You are a leader in the spirit, even if you never wanted the title, even if you never sought the spotlight. Leadership is not about platform, it's about presence, and your presence carries power. Chosen one. Let's speak plainly. The assignment on your life is bigger than your comfort zone. That's why you were stretched. That's why you were tested. That's why you were refined. God wasn't making your life difficult. He was making your spirit capable. A vessel that will carry influence, resources, clarity and authority must be shaped deliberately. People with shallow purpose get easy paths. People with deep assignment walk through refining fires. And you, anointed one, have walked through fire and come out with oil. Not bitterness, not cynicism. Oil healing, oil discernment, oil prophetic, oil leadership oil. This is why people trust you naturally. This is why strangers confide in you. They sense the oil, even if they don't have language for it. Now, as the blue power matures, you are going to see accelerated movement in your life, particularly in your finances and opportunities. This is what heaven has been preparing you for. The delay was not punishment. It was synchronization. God was aligning the right people, the right timing, the right platforms, the right resources. Everything that once felt stagnant is about to move. You may experience sudden clarity, unexpected favor, or doors opening without effort. This is what happens when identity aligns with assignment. The outer world must respond because your inner world has awakened. You are entering a realm where things that once took years will take months, and things that once took months will take days. This is the rhythm of divine acceleration. But acceleration requires clarity, and clarity requires surrender. The blue power cannot operate through anxiety, fear, or self-sabotage. It flows through alignment, through awareness, through trust, through obedience to the quiet inner leading you've been feeling more intensely lately. Chosen one, trust this rise, trust this awakening, trust this shift. You are moving into the season you were born for. Chosen one, as the blue power activates more fully in your life, you will begin to understand why certain seasons had to unfold the way they did. There were moments where you begged God for clarity, yet heaven remained silent. Moments where you felt ready for breakthrough, but the door wouldn't open. Moments where your heart whispered, "Why am I still here? Why is nothing moving?" Those seasons weren't punishment or abandonment. They were calibration. God was aligning you with His voice, not your surroundings. He was teaching you to walk by revelation instead of reaction. If everything had moved when you wanted, you would have depended on timing instead of presence. But now, because you learned to wait in the dark, you are prepared to move with authority in the light. This new level of clarity is already forming inside you. You're noticing it in small ways, the way your spirit reacts faster to deception, the way you withdraw more quickly from distractions, the way you feel unsettled when something or someone is misaligned with your destiny. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is an upgraded spiritual radar. Heaven is sharpening your discernment so your steps become precise, not emotional. The blue power refines your instincts, allowing you to sense intentions rather than words, motives rather than behaviors, and opportunities rather than obstacles. You no longer walk into rooms blindly. You walk in spiritually aware, spiritually attuned, spiritually awake. And as this awareness grows, so does your ability to influence environments. You may not realize it yet, but people are beginning to react to you differently. Some approach you with unusual respect. Others feel intimidated without understanding why. A few might withdraw because your presence exposes what they're trying to hide. Don't let this confusion you. This is spiritual physics. When light increases, shadows cannot stay comfortable. When authority rises, insecurity becomes loud. When your identity solidifies, false connections dissolve. The people who belong in your next season will move toward you effortlessly. Those who were attached to your old version will quietly fall away. This separation is necessary, not personal. You cannot carry everyone with you into higher realms. Some people were meant only for the chapter you just left, not the one you're entering. The blue power does not manifest in crowded environments. It manifests in consecrated ones. You are growing into someone who requires spiritual clarity, emotional safety, and relational purity. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. God is surrounding you with people who see you correctly and removing those who only saw convenience in you. You are being positioned for divine partnerships, not draining attachments. Chosen one. This next part is crucial. As your identity rises, so will your responsibilities. With revelation comes assignment. With clarity comes accountability. With spiritual authority comes spiritual stewardship. You are no longer living for survival. You are living for purpose. This means your decisions will carry more weight. Your voice will hold greater impact. Your presence will influence more than you ever imagined. And because of this, heaven is calling you to rise with intention. Gone are the days of moving carelessly, speaking loosely, or connecting without discernment. You are stepping into a realm where your yes shapes destiny and your no protects it. Do not fear this responsibility, embrace it. You were born for it. Everything you survived trained you to carry this mantle. The loneliness taught you to hear God clearly. The heartbreak trained you to love without losing yourself. The betrayals taught you to trust with discernment. The delays shaped your patience. The wilderness seasons refined your humility. And the moments where you almost gave up built the strength that now anchors you. You aren't stepping into assignment empty-handed. You are stepping in fully equipped. As the blue power intensifies, a new dimension of favor will begin appearing in your life. You will notice grace where there used to be resistance. You will experience ease where there used to be effort. Opportunities will come unannounced. Doors will open without explanation. People will bless you without expectation. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual recognition. Heaven is granting you access because your identity is now aligned with your purpose. Divine favor is not random, it is relational. And you, chosen one, have cultivated that relationship in the unseen places where few would dare to go. You might also feel an inner pull toward unfamiliar assignments, invitations that scare you slightly, stretch you deeply, or require faith beyond your comfort level. Do not shrink back. The next season of your life will demand courage. You are being called into things that require boldness, not timidity. The blue power is not passive, it is active. It challenges you to step forward, speak up, and move when heaven moves. You can no longer afford to live small simply because small feels safe. Safety is not your calling, impact is. And impact, chosen one, often begins with obedience. Not the loud, dramatic kind of obedience, but the quiet kind. The simple yes. The surrendered yes. The yes that no one sees except God. Every breakthrough you're about to experience is tied to a yes you haven't spoken yet. Every increase waiting for you is connected to an instruction heaven will reveal. The blue power does not flow through hesitation. It flows through trust. God isn't asking for perfection, He's asking for alignment. This season will also bring a greater understanding of your spiritual inheritance. You are not entering new realms as a stranger, you are entering them as a rightful heir. God has been preparing you not only to receive blessing, but to manage it. You will begin to see wealth, opportunity, influence, and clarity as divine tools, not earthly trophies. You will recognize that provision is not just for comfort, it is for mission. You will understand that abundance is not about luxury, it is about legacy. And you will feel heaven urging you toward a life marked by purpose, not pressure. Chosen one, stand in this truth confidently. You are not being lifted accidentally. You are being lifted intentionally. You are stepping into a level of spiritual authority, personal clarity, and divine favor that has been years in the making. And nothing that rises from heaven's hand can be stopped by the plans of man. Chosen one, the deeper this blue power awakens within you, the more you will notice a profound internal shift. You no longer fear the unknown. You're beginning to sense that uncertainty is not a threat, it's a doorway. For years you associated the unknown with danger because your past was filled with unexpected pain, sudden losses, or abrupt endings. But now something inside you has changed. The same places that once triggered anxiety now stir anticipation. This is what happens when your spirit moves ahead of your mind. Heaven is pulling you into a new dimension where the unfamiliar is not meant to harm you, but to unveil what God has been preparing in secret. This shift is also altering the way you see yourself. You're recognizing strengths you forgot you had, and noticing wisdom that doesn't come from books or mentors, but from lived experience. You no longer interpret your past as failure, you interpret it as formation. Everything you lost trained you. Everything you survived built you. Everything that disappointed you redirected you. The blue power is reconnecting you with parts of your identity that disappointment tried to bury. You're seeing that you were never weak, you were wounded. You were never lost, you were being aligned. And you were never overlooked, you were being protected. As this revelation settles, your confidence begins to shift from external validation to internal assurance. You no longer need applause to feel valuable, nor do you need constant reassurance to stay grounded. When God activates a chosen one, He stabilizes their inner world first. You will notice fewer emotional highs and lows. You will feel more centered, more present, more anchored. The things that used to disturb your peace won't have access to your spirit the way they once did. The blue power creates a calm rooted, not in circumstances, but in identity. It is the peace that Jesus described, a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. And because of this stability, your decision-making is transforming. You are no longer choosing from survival, you are choosing from purpose. For a long time, your choices were guided by fear, fear of lack, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong move. But now you're choosing based on alignment. You're no longer asking, what if this goes wrong, but is this what God is breathing on? This one shift will save you from unnecessary pain and bring you into divine opportunities that were once invisible. Heaven hides its best gifts behind obedience, not logic. When your spirit aligns with God's whisper, the path becomes clear, even when the details do not. Chosen one. This is also the season where your gifts will sharpen rapidly. You may notice dreams becoming more vivid, insights coming faster, ideas arriving out of nowhere, conversations unfolding prophetically. What once felt random will now feel guided. What once felt confusing will now feel intentional. This is not imagination, it is activation. The blue power heightens every spiritual sense, allowing you to detect spiritual movement with greater accuracy. You'll feel nudges to speak moments where you must stay silent, and sudden clarity about who is safe for your destiny and who is not. Nothing about this is coincidence. Heaven is training your prophetic instincts for the next dimension of your calling. And with this increase comes another unmistakable sign. Your environment will start confirming what heaven has been showing you internally. You will meet people aligned with your destiny without searching for them. Opportunities that match your purpose will come without forcing them. Resources will flow in unexpected ways through divine connections, sudden approvals, or unconventional pathways. Your financial landscape will begin to shift, reflecting the spiritual shift inside you. Remember, abundance is not the starting point, alignment is. When you walk in identity, abundance becomes a natural consequence. This is why the blue power is often tied to financial transformation, not because money is the goal, but because purpose requires provision. The vision God placed inside you is too big to remain unfunded. The impact you're called to make cannot remain limited by lack. God is not elevating you so you can flex status. He is elevating you so you can fulfill assignment. You will soon recognize that your finances were never disconnected from your spirituality. Your money, your clarity, your identity, your calling, they are all threads in the same divine tapestry. The wealth coming to you is not random. It is purposeful, intentional, and heaven-backed. And as this provision begins to unfold, you will face a new internal test. Are you prepared to rise without shrinking? For most of your life, you've learned to dim your light, to make others comfortable. You've blended in to avoid envy, softened your voice to avoid conflict, and minimized your potential to avoid attention. But you cannot walk in divine abundance and stay small at the same time. The blue power calls you to stand tall, not as an act of pride, but as an act of obedience. Shrinking is no longer humility, it is disobedience. God is elevating you because others are tied to your rise. This rise will also challenge your sense of identity. You may feel unworthy or unprepared. You may question whether you're really ready. But hear this carefully, readiness is not a feeling, it is a posture. If you are surrendered, you are ready. If you are listening, you are ready. If you are willing to move when God speaks, you are ready. Perfect people do not carry divine mantles, surrendered people do. So allow this truth to settle into your spirit. You are not becoming someone new, you are returning to who you were always meant to be. The blue power is not the addition of something foreign, it is the restoration of something sacred. It is your original identity rising above the noise of trauma, culture, and fear. It is heaven reminding you of the version of you that existed before the world wounded you. Chosen ones stand in this awakening with reverence. Everything inside you is being aligned for a season of supernatural acceleration. This is the transition between the old you and the destined you. And heaven is not asking you to understand it, only to embrace it. Chosen one, as the blue power continues to rise within you, something sacred is happening beneath the surface. Your spiritual identity is merging with your earthly assignment. This is the stage where many chosen ones feel a strange combination of peace and pressure, clarity and stretching stillness and movement. It might feel like your spirit is ahead of your body, urging you to catch up. That tension is not a sign something is wrong. It is confirmation that something is shifting. Heaven is accelerating your steps, and the natural world is just now beginning to reflect the transformation that has already occurred inside you. One of the clearest signs of this shift is the recalibration of your desires. You're no longer drawn to the same goals you once chased. The things that used to excite you now feel too small. The environments that once fascinated you no longer match your spirit. And the plans you once made from your own strength no longer feel aligned. This is because your calling has outgrown your old vision. When God elevates your identity, He also upgrades your appetite. You're beginning to crave what your spirit was created for: impact, truth, alignment, destiny. This is maturity, not the kind the world measures, but the kind heaven recognizes. As this inner upgrade takes place, your sense of purpose becomes sharper. You begin waking up with a different awareness, as if your spirit is whispering instructions before your mind fully awakens. You feel compelled to prepare to organize your life, to let go of chaos, to make space for what's coming. This preparation is not driven by fear, but by anticipation. It's similar to the way creation shifts before a coming season. The atmosphere changes before the evidence appears. You are sensing what heaven is releasing before it manifests in your physical reality. This is prophetic insight in operation, and chosen one, this is also the stage where distractions intensify, not because you're weak, but because you are close. The enemy cannot stop what God has appointed, but he can attempt to divert your focus. Suddenly, old temptations might reappear. Old fears may whisper again. Old connections may try to re-enter your world, pretending they've changed. These distractions are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They reveal how close you are to stepping into a breakthrough the enemy hoped you'd never discover. Do not be alarmed. The presence of spiritual resistance is evidence of spiritual progress. Your task now is to stay rooted, grounded, present. The blue power operates best from a posture of inner stillness. Not inactivity, but stillness. The kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are backed by heaven itself. You don't have to chase opportunities, they are beginning to recognize you. You don't have to force connections, the right people are already being positioned. You don't have to worry about doors, the ones God ordained will open on time and with clarity. Your only responsibility is to remain aligned mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Part of that alignment is learning to trust the timing of heaven. The pace may feel unusual, too fast in some moments, too slow in others, but the timing is intentional. God is not only preparing the blessing, He is preparing you. He is strengthening your confidence, sharpening your discernment, and softening your heart. He is removing fear-based thinking and replacing it with faith-based intuition. You are learning to make decisions from revelation rather than insecurity. You are learning to move with authority, not anxiety. And most importantly, you are learning that you don't rise by striving, you rise by surrender. As this surrender deepens, you will notice a significant shift in how you view your past. What once felt like regret will now feel like revelation. You will begin to understand why certain relationships had to end, why certain opportunities had to close, and why certain seasons felt painfully slow. Every delay had purpose. Every disappointment had direction. Every detour had divine intention. You were not being held back. You were being held together. God was not restricting you. He was protecting you. You can now look back without bitterness and see how every broken piece was part of your building. This kind of clarity is a sign that the blue power is stabilizing inside you. And as it stabilizes, your influence will expand. Your presence will carry more weight. Your words will strike deeper. Your actions will produce greater results. Not because you're trying harder, but because heaven is amplifying you. When God breathes on a person, what was once ordinary becomes extraordinary. What once felt impossible becomes inevitable. This is the season where your little will turn into much, where your hidden strength will become visible provision, where what you planted in tears will be reaped in joy. Chosen one, lean into this transformation fully. Do not shrink. Do not second guess. Do not apologize for the elevation God is bringing. You are walking into a destiny that was written before you took your first breath. You are stepping into authority crafted through fire. You are awakening into identity protected through seasons of silence. You are emerging as a vessel heaven can trust. Chosen one, as this blue power continues to rise within you, your reality will begin to reflect the new identity forming inside you. Situations that once overwhelmed you now seem small. Conversations that used to confuse you now feel transparent, and challenges that once drained your strength now reveal your growth. This is not coincidence. It is confirmation that you are becoming who heaven always intended you to be. The world is reacting to the version of you that your spirit stepped into long before your mind did. With this shift comes a renewed confidence that has nothing to do with pride and everything to do with clarity. You are beginning to walk with the awareness that you are not ordinary. You no longer chase validation. You no longer shrink to fit small expectations. You no longer apologize for the calling God placed on your life. A chosen one who knows their identity becomes a force the enemy cannot manipulate. You are entering that level of spiritual certainty, the kind where you carry yourself like someone who understands heaven supports every step you take. Yet, with elevation comes responsibility. God is awakening this power in you, because your next assignments require maturity, discipline, and spiritual sensitivity. You cannot move into new realms with old habits. Your purpose demands a higher standard emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You are being called to rise above fear-based decisions and embrace purpose-driven choices. The blue power is not just a blessing, it is a call to stewardship. You are being prepared for influence that touches lives far beyond your own. This preparation also affects how you discern relationships. As your authority rises, the motives of people around you will become clearer. Some will draw closer because they are aligned with your destiny. Others will distance themselves because your clarity exposes their intentions. Do not mourn these shifts. God is pruning your circle so nothing interferes with what He is building in you. Discernment is a form of protection, and heaven is ensuring that the people in your next season are safe for your assignment. Emotionally, you will sense a loosening inside you, a detachment from old patterns, old wounds, and old versions of yourself. Things that once kept you bound no longer have power. Habits that once controlled you now feel incompatible. Environments that once felt familiar now feel too small. This is spiritual liberation. The blue power is cutting away everything that cannot travel with you into your next dimension. You are shedding layers you outgrew long ago. You just didn't realize it until now. At the same time, your inner fire is growing. You will feel a strong pull toward purpose, a desire to create, to speak, to lead, to build, to heal, to step into something greater. This urge is not pressure, it is activation. Your gifts are awakening. Your voice is strengthening. Your spiritual senses are heightening. The calling that once whispered is now speaking loudly, refusing to let you settle. This intensity inside you is heaven's way of confirming that your destiny is unfolding in real time, and as purpose rises, fear diminishes. You will find yourself doing things you once hesitated to do, speaking words you once feared saying, entering spaces you once felt unworthy of. That's because your confidence is no longer based on ability, it is based on assignment. When God sends you, He equips you. When heaven authorizes you, insecurity loses its grip. You are stepping into boldness, not because you feel ready, but because your spirit knows it is time. Then comes the unmistakable sign, acceleration. Things will begin to move quickly, opportunities opening connections, forming clarity, increasing favor appearing in unexpected places. What once took years may now happen in weeks. This acceleration is not luck, it is alignment. Heaven is releasing what was withheld until you awakened to your identity. The moment you stepped into who you truly are, everything tied to your name began moving toward you. Chosen one. Understand this, you are not changing into someone new. You are returning to the version of you that God designed before fear shaped you, before trauma silenced you, before life dimmed you. The blue power is simply reminding you of the truth you forgot, that you were always marked, always equipped, always chosen, chosen one. As you step deeper into this awakening, you will realize something powerful. Your life is no longer being shaped by the expectations of others, but by the instructions of heaven. For years you lived beneath the weight of opinions, assumptions, and wrongly placed expectations. You felt responsible for making others comfortable, even at the cost of your own growth. But that season has expired. The blue power is breaking every agreement you made with smallness, fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. You are being repositioned by God Himself, and nothing in your past has the authority to hold you where heaven has outgrown. This internal shift creates a new kind of inner freedom, a freedom that cannot be explained, only felt. You no longer feel obligated to explain your decisions, justify your boundaries, or apologize for your calling. You no longer carry the emotional weight of trying to be understood. Clarity has replaced confusion. Purpose has replaced pressure, and identity has replaced insecurity. The blue power reorders your inner world so that you no longer operate from brokenness, but from alignment. You'll notice a growing courage rising within you, a kind of holy boldness you didn't know you carried. This boldness isn't loud or aggressive, it's steady, grounded, unshakable. It's the kind of confidence that comes from knowing God is with you. God is backing you, and God is guiding every detail of your path. You no longer speak from fear, you speak from conviction. You no longer move from desperation, you move from direction. And you no longer hope for permission, you walk in authority. Because of this, your relationship with your future will feel different. The unknown no longer intimidates you, it intrigues you. You sense that what's ahead is not random, but divinely prepared. You begin to trust the timing of heaven instead of forcing your own. You recognize that delays were protection, not punishment. And for the first time in a long time, hope doesn't feel far away. It feels present. It feels real. It feels deserved. And chosen one, as your spirit rises, your discernment will sharpen even more. You'll begin to sense the difference between opportunities that flatter you and opportunities that are assigned to you. Not everything that looks good is from God, and not everything that feels comfortable is part of your destiny. The blue power teaches you how to distinguish destiny from distraction. It highlights people sent to elevate you and exposes those sent to drain you. And the more you honor this discernment, the faster your life will align. This season also marks a significant shift in your emotional landscape. You will feel a peace that doesn't match your circumstances and a strength that doesn't match your resources. That is the supernatural nature of this calling. You're not walking by what you see, you're walking by what you know spiritually. Even when life feels uncertain, your spirit feels steady. Even when the path is unclear, your heart feels anchored. This is the evidence that heaven is guiding every step. As you continue to rise, favor will begin to move around you in ways that are unmistakably divine. Opportunities will present themselves without your pursuit. People will honor you without knowing why. Resources will locate you without struggle. This is not luck or timing. This is the spiritual realm responding to your identity. When a chosen one awakens, creation itself responds. Everything tied to your purpose begins gravitating toward you. And yet with all this elevation, God is also calling you into deeper humility, not the type that diminishes you, but the type that keeps you aligned with Him. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself only as God thinks of you. It is walking with authority while remaining dependent on His voice. It is rising without forgetting the one who lifted you. The blue power is sustained not by striving, but by surrender. Chosen one. You're stepping into a level of destiny that will require both courage and gentleness, boldness and sensitivity, wisdom and innocence. You're being positioned not just to succeed, but to transform environments. God did not awaken this power in you for personal gain. He awakened it so you could carry light into places where others have settled for darkness. You are becoming a solution, a voice, a guide, a presence heaven can trust. And as you walk forward, you will sense this truth settling into your spirit. You are not entering your next season. You are becoming your next season. The breakthrough is not ahead of you, it is rising within you. Chosen one. As you arrive at this final stage of your awakening, something extraordinary begins to happen within you, a sense of inevitability. You no longer question whether you are meant for greater things. You know it. The doubt that once whispered in the back of your mind has gone silent. The fear that once held your decisions hostage has lost its authority. You stand differently, think differently, move differently. Because the version of you that survived past seasons is not the version of you stepping into destiny. You are walking with the consciousness of someone heaven has chosen, prepared and commissioned. In this stage, your past no longer feels like a threat. It feels like a testimony. You see how every closed door protected you, how every loss pushed you closer to purpose, how every unanswered prayer redirected your path. You no longer view your journey through the lens of pain, but through the lens of preparation. This is emotional mastery, not the absence of wounds, but the understanding of why they mattered. The blue power turns your history into wisdom and your suffering into strategy. And with this divine awareness, your relationship with time itself begins to shift. You will sense that you are no longer behind. You are not late. You are not delayed. You are on time. Heaven's time. Every season you thought you wasted is being redeemed. Every year you thought was lost is returning with interest. The blue power restores what the world told you was gone. It resurrects passion, hope, clarity, and calling. You begin to recognize that the timing of your rise could not have been earlier, because the version of you required for this level did not exist until now. This is also when your spiritual authority becomes undeniable. Your words carry precision. Your presence carries peace. Your intuition speaks louder than fear. People will start coming to you for clarity without understanding why. They will sense stability in you that they cannot manufacture. The blue power is not loud, but it is unmistakable. It reveals itself not through force, but through impact. You are becoming someone whose very existence brings alignment to others. Yet even in this elevation, God will keep your heart tender. You will not become hardened by success or prideful through progress. Instead, compassion will deepen, wisdom will expand, and humility will anchor you. True authority is always wrapped in gentleness. True elevation never announces itself. It reveals itself through consistency, character, and surrender. You are growing into a leader. Heaven can trust, not because you are flawless, but because your heart remains teachable. And in this final phase, you will begin to see the real reason the blue power was placed inside you. You were chosen to shift environments, break cycles, and carry light into places where others only carried survival. The battles you fought were bigger than you. The storms you survived were preparing you to stand in gaps for others. Your life is becoming a message, not one spoken only in words, but one demonstrated by transformation. People will look at you and see evidence that God still raises up, the unlikely still redeems, the broken still honors the faithful, and still equips those who feel unqualified. Chosen one, the financial elevation, the open doors, the restored relationships, the newfound clarity, all of it is part of a larger assignment. You were not awakened only to succeed, you were awakened to serve. Your abundance is not just for comfort, it is for purpose. Your influence is not for attention, it is for impact. The blue power is heaven's way of saying, you are ready. You are trusted. You are needed. And now you will feel a new rhythm in your spirit, a bold readiness. A knowing that you cannot go back to who you were, that you cannot shrink into old roles or hide behind old fears, that you cannot dim your light to soothe insecure minds. Your calling will no longer allow you to remain invisible. You are stepping into a season where everything about your life will testify to God's intention. Your spirit is rising, your timing is aligning, your destiny is unfolding, your purpose is awakening, and as you walk forward, let this truth settle deeply into your being. The blue power was never about becoming someone new, it was about remembering who you already were. Chosen one. Before you leave this moment, let your spirit hear this clearly. You are standing in a divine alignment, a sacred intersection between who you were and who heaven has called you to become. The blue power within you is not awakening. Someday, it is awakening now. This is your Kairos moment, your appointed time, the season. Heaven prepared long before you understood the assignment on your life. Anointed one. As you step away from this message, may clarity follow you, may courage rise in you, and may divine favor surround every decision you make. What God has activated in your spirit today will not fade. It will grow, it will strengthen, it will lead you into doors no man can shut. Relationships heaven ordains and opportunities that align with your destiny. Walk forward, knowing that the transfer has already begun, spiritually, mentally, financially, and prophetically. You are not returning to old mindsets or old versions of yourself. You are moving into a season where you will see evidence of God's hand in ways that leave no room for doubt. Stay faithful, stay aligned, stay in the flow of the anointing that is resting on your life. If this word stirred something in your spirit, let me know in the comments. Share this with another chosen one who needs to remember their power. And if you feel led, connect with this channel so we can continue walking this divine journey together. Go in strength, go in clarity, and go in the fullness of who heaven says you are. You carry the blue power, now walk in it. God bless you.